Welcome back to the Let Me Take You Higher podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Villain. Today we're going to be exploring a segment that's very deep to everyone's self-consciousness, because if you think about it, many people have multiple jobs. Many people have an Uber account that they utilize. Many people do DoorDash. Many people even do Favor. But that's the hustle. You got to have one or two passive sources of income just to even make it nowadays. So we want to explore the nuances of modern life and work culture. And we're tackling a topic that resonates deeply with many of us. The hustle culture in America is the American dream. Is it still within reach? Or has it morphed into an endless cycle of work and exhaustion? Joining me in this topic is our special co-host guest, Gigi Luigi, whose insights and humor will help us navigate this rough terrain and kind of explain what is the hustle culture and where are we hustling towards. Stay tuned.
They say rise and grind, don't stop till you win. Clock in your dreams, success is a sin. Chasing that dollar, running on fumes. We're sold on the hustle, but where is the room? We're burning out for a shot in the game. The same old promise, a different name. Is it all worth it, this weight on our heads? The hustle culture, is the dream dead? Is the American dream just a fairy tale? The story we tell when the real ones fail. We're pushing and pulling, barely getting fed. In a hustle culture, is the dream dead? From corner offices to 9 to 5s, we're all on this treadmill just trying to survive. They tell us to climb, to never relent, but who's getting rich off the time we spent? They say it's freedom, just paying your dues, but we're giving our lives for someone else's views. We're chasing a high that we're never fed. In a hustle culture, is the dream dead? Is the American dream just a fairy tale? The story we tell when the real ones fail. We're pushing and pulling, barely getting fed. In a hustle culture, is the dream dead? It painted in gold, but it's lost its glow. A story of riches few will ever know. What's the cost of the climb? This battle we led. Is the dream alive, or is it just in our heads? So here's to the ones still digging in deep, living the promise that was sold in our sleep. But maybe it's time to rewrite the line, redefine hustle and let ourselves shine. Is the dream dead, or can it be revived? We're here to question, to dig and to dive. In a world that's pushing us to the edge, let's find a new way to break out of this pledge. Is the American dream just a fairy tale, or can we reclaim it, tear down the veil? In the hustle culture, we're breaking the thread. The dream's in our hands, it's far from dead.
And welcome back to Let Me Take You Higher, the podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Villain. And as always, we have our co-host here, Mr. Gigi Luigi. And what we're going to talk about today, guys, is the hustle culture. American dream. Is it lost? Well, let me just tell you, I don't know for you and what you do to make ends meet, but I understand it. And I've also done it myself. And I know Gigi Luigi can kind of ignite a little fire into this. I think he does that as well. Gigi, what do you think about the American dream and the hustle culture? Do you think the American dream is just dead, or do we have to revive it with paddles?
So I don't think the American dream is dead. I remember one time I'm in sales, so I was talking to somebody, and I don't remember what he said or why he said this, but he pretty much was like, "The American dream is dead." Like threw his hands up. Like I think it has something to do with him not owning a house or something. I don't know. But I mean, the idea of the American dream, like going to work 9 to 5, I mean,
Mhm.
that idea is kind of dead.
Yeah.
Mainly just because of like inflation and wages not being able to catch up. Even with mom going to work and two people in the house making, money, maybe even having like a third person trying to like cover all the bills. Like it's not the idea that the people fell in love with the American dream.
Yeah. I
I
understand.
remember, yeah, I remember one guy. I don't remember what we were really talking about or why we were talking. It had something to do with him not being able to own a house. And he said, "Well, that's the American dream. It's dead." And if you have that mentality, yeah, absolutely, the American dream is dead because it's not that the American dream is dead. It's evolved. It's
It
evolving.
has yeah.
There's
Well,
so
the
many.
old American dream is on paddles. Like, you're not gonna ever get to where we were in the 1950s because I hear this all the time. I hear people in, like, Gen Z, Gen X, "Oh, my parents bought a house for $1,900, and they went to school for $500 a year." Well, yeah, that's when stuff was starting out. Now we're established, things progress, things are gonna cost more, people innovate. This is the cost of innovation, this is the cost of forwarding progression. And I'm sorry to cut you off, Gigi, but I mean, I understand what they're saying, but that's just a weak man's mentality to me.
No,
I
that's
hate
exactly
saying
what
it.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different ways to make money. Like they say what a millionaire has about 6 or 7 forms of income. Like
Yes,
that's
avenues,
a
passive. Mhm.
yeah, that's available to everybody. Like look how easy it is to invest now and keep
Yeah,
track of your investments and to get educated on your investments. It's so much easier.
yeah, right.
Look at like oh shoot, you like just YouTube, social media, getting involved with
Mhm.
that, getting a part-time job with that. You can learn to code, get some kind of part-time job with that.
Right.
Uber Eats, there's so many avenues to where like
It's so for
you can have
everything that
3 or 4 going. Yeah.
and that's the thing, Gigi, and you're right, and I wish people would just understand, for everything you feel you're losing in today's economy, there's 7 or 8 different things that you've gained that you didn't have before. You didn't have AI, you didn't have Google, you didn't have the Internet. I mean, I'm going back about 30 years, but you had all these extra things when back in the day, if you want to make a conceptualized argument that's intelligent, you had to
Don't get
rely on
sexual
what you
now.
were taught. Conceptual. That you know where my head is, conceptual? No, it's not. But if you wanted to make an argument that made sense, you had to have some upbringing, some, grammarification, and some schooling. Nowadays, you can just go to AI and say, "Hey, tell me about what I should feel about this and that and the other thing," and it gives you a whole window of what you should do. We didn't have that in the '90s, guys.
You could
Your
just
lives
type
were
you could just type out
yeah,
like 2 sentences explaining like an idea or a chapter for a book and it'll just write it for you.
yes.
And you just
You
have to
can
edit it.
have a whole book written for you just on a section, like, it's just a thought,
Yeah.
and, I mean, come on.
There's so much
It's
you can
just
do with AI now.
and you're absolutely right, Gigi, and I think you know this. I mean, we're all in the first baby strokes of this new dichotomy, this new, age, but you better learn quick because it's not going anywhere, it's only gonna get more involved. Am I right? Like, I don't know.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's why I keep saying it's evolving. It's in a
Yeah.
constant state of like new opportunities open up, but like old familiar ones close up down. Like you
Yeah.
just have to like look towards the horizons versus behind you. And like
Right.
what your fathers were able to do. Like that's great. Like what we're able to do, our kids gonna look back and be like, man, I wish I had the opportunity to invest in Nvidia,
Yeah.
Google, all those things. You know what I mean?
NVIDIA, Ethereum, Bitcoin,
Yeah.
Dogecoin. Like, guys, we are on the precipice of an amazing time. If you've lived in the last 30 to 35 years, you're living in the greatest time in human history. Don't get it disturbed. If you've lived in the last 100 years, you're living in the greatest time in human history. One of my favorite comics, and I know I'll get heat for it, but that's okay, is a C.K. Lewis. He says, "How are you complaining about having a cell phone that doesn't come on? 100 years from that point when the cell phone was invented, they had nothing. They didn't even have movable type. They barely had movable type. So, embrace the tools that are just staring in your face because somebody else will if you don't." It just
I love when people I love when people ask me questions and I pull up my phone and was like, let me just go consult or like look through all of the knowledge of all mankind real quick. And I just type it into
bro,
Google. I'm like, all right, here's the answer. Like that's
you
how easy it is, guys. It really is.
is you have Mount Olympus. You have Mount Olympus, the Library of Alexandria, the Rhodes Scholars of London. You have it at the palm of your hands. You can look at anything that has ever happened in the eclipse of human existence in a matter of seconds. That's never before been done in the history of mankind. Why are you complaining? You get your hustle on by thinking ahead. Just you don't even have to think more than 2 feet ahead, and you can outpace people because we are in the midst of a new technology that has never been tried before, never been seen before. And there are people that are garnering this technology as we speak, and they're utilizing it to change people's lives and the world in their own image. That's what you have to be concerned about. You don't want the wrong person changing the entire world in their image. You want to break free of this mold you've put yourself in, and the hustle culture can do that for you. Like Gigi was saying, you got Uber Eats, you got Uber this, you got Favor that, you've got DoorDash here. I mean, you can start a business overnight and get consulted by an AI who knows everything. What are
Look,
we complaining?
exactly. I just saw a great idea. This guy started up a business where he just drops a trailer off in front of like a house party, and if you can't smoke in the house, then you have a trailer you can smoke in. It's called the hot
Bro,
pot
that's amazing.
or hot box
Now,
rather. It's a
can you
hot pot.
imagine? And I know there's some of our medicinal friends out there.
Well,
And
what
but by
an
the
idea!
way,
It's crazy how
yeah,
I
I
just have
mean,
an idea.
why don't you get a hot box? Do the same situation, same idea, and this is off the cuff, guys. We don't know anything about this. Gigi just brought this up, but get a hot box doing the same fucking thing. Get a trailer at a house party and fill it with hot boxing materials, and we're all go into it because I'm in Texas. But you can do the same thing, guys. There is
You can
so
do it a
much
lot of
innovation.
places.
Yeah, yeah. But I will tell. I mean, but come on now. You know how this works. It's going to be the smartest guy. It doesn't even have to be the smartest guy in the room. It just has to be the guy who has the most dedication and ambition. The smart guys. I mean, the smart guy is the AI. So you already got your consultant. Just take that and utilize it with your ambition. You can do anything. You can move mountains. Gigi, am I right about this? Am I
No,
just am I smoking the hot box on this one?
no, no. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. One of my favorite quotes is "Greatness exists one step out of your comfort zone." People get
You
too
have to be
comfortable.
uncomfortable.
Like working a 9 to 5 job, it's comfortable because it's
Yeah.
like it's predictable. You have a
Mhm.
schedule, you have a routine. What you need is to kind of, as you said, push yourself, move mountains, set yourself up for the
Yeah.
passive income
Set
so that
yourself up
like
for
you
success.
can spend 2, 3 hours a day doing
Mhm.
something like making content or like
Yes.
looking over your stocks,
Mhm.
day trading while you're like
I used
in
to be a
between your
day
shifts at
trader.
work.
When
Yeah,
it
like
I was a day trader when it wasn't fun. My trade that got me paid the most, and I might get heat for it, but if you have heat for me, it said, "Let us take you higher," podcast at gmail.com. Anyway, but one of the major things, and I used that money to go to Europe and do all kinds of things, was when you had the Horizon disaster. BP Gas and Electric went under because the Horizon disaster, like, it imploded and they lost tons of shares. And I was a novice day trader. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy these shares at $16 a share instead of 80. And I did it, and I probably was one of the only ones to do it at the time because everybody was dumping the stock, and I made thousands of dollars and I had fun with it. But guys, you have to see the inroad of opportunity in every fucking thing. If you don't, you're gonna be on the sidelines. And don't complain about it. We need ambitious people who are dedicated to going further. If you're just on the couch playing COD and you're like, I don't know why my life sucks. Well, that's probably why your life sucks. I'm not gonna be that guy. I'm not a conservative. I'm not gonna be that pundit. But it just
no,
infuriates me that people just sit there, Gigi, and they ask, "Oh, well, why? Oh, me. Why me?" Well, get off your goddamn ass and do something about it. That's why
no,
you. You're not.
absolutely. So I saw again. I love positive like mindset videos. Like just
Yeah.
passively, I love seeing them on my like timeline and whatnot. Came across one, and it was a guy who's they were asking what's more beneficial, positive thinking or less negative thinking? Like yeah, more positive thinking, less negative thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And he said less negative thinking. Like
That's how you
positive
feel.
thinking, yeah, you definitely want to get your positive thinking going. But if you want to get your mileage out of one or the other, less negative thinking. Stop thinking that you're a loser. Stop thinking that your
No,
situation sucks. Like get excited. Like you woke up today. Like have you ever had a
guys,
night?
and that's perfect that Gigi says this because you guys all won a race. We all did. We're here because we run the race of the sperm decathlon. Our sperm, when we first started out in the womb, or whatever the case may be, got to the egg first. That race was a trillion other sperm. There could have been a trillion other offsets of you, and there probably are in the multiple dimensional, whatever you believe in, but we are all winners just starting right out of the gate. Use that, use that formula to go further. Don't eh, put yourself in a situation where you think that, oh, life sucks, I can't get it, blah, blah, blah. You already won the race. You're already here. Out of all the people that could have ever existed, and this is one of my favorite quotes from Mr. DeGrasse Tyson, and we really want you on the show because I love your ass. Of all the people that could have ever existed, most people will never exist. And the ones that do the less with their time. Let's do more. We can. We have it at our tips to do it. You're in the greatest time in history. Act like it. You could have been in the 15th century. You know what was going on there, the Black Plague. We're not. So, I mean, and Gigi, take it away from that. I mean, what do you just this particular topic just reads so much into my frustration with so many people who just choose to do less or eventually choose to do nothing and consume themselves with the vitality of the eeriness of the macabre, utilizing the things they felt like they could not do to justify leaving the planet. And God rest those people. I just feel like, come on, guys, get it together, reach out. And I know it's a hustle culture. You got to do 4 and 5 different opportunities to make passive income. But if you do it right, you're setting yourself up for great and grandier things in your future. Is that correct, Gigi? I mean, what do you think? What's your analysis of?
Oh, absolutely. Like that again. It's just you can either like there's one or two options with everything.
Yeah,
Um, with take it from me, for example, didn't have the best upcoming, didn't have the best role models, didn't have the
true.
best guidance, but I chose to discipline myself. I put myself through some hardship. I learned, but I always wanted to get better. It's no one else's fault when I fail but my own. And by doing that, things change because I
Right.
change things. If I blame
Yeah.
someone else, I'm waiting for them to change it for me.
Yes. You're giving up control. And guys, no matter what you're doing, whether it be in relationships, in your professional life, with your children, whatever, don't ever cede control. Don't ever be so vulnerable. You don't feel like you have a hold of whatever you're trying to get a hold of. And take it from Gigi because Gigi's been through some stuff and it's a lot of stuff. And I have too. It's way different, but everybody has a story to tell. But our story should be united in the framework that we won the race and we're here for more. You got to be hungry. If you're not hungry, what are you doing? I mean, come on now. I always say
You,
this to my mom. It's so funny.
I was
My mom,
saying you owe
I'm,
your. Oh, sorry.
go for it. What'd you say, Gigi?
I was saying you owe it to yourself to be successful.
You do. I mean, look, there are so many beautifully minded people who died, and we all die. We all pass, right? Einstein, Galileo, Isaac Newton, Martin Luther King, everybody. These were people who had an idea and they chased it until their death. And they knew they were going to pass away. They knew they weren't going to be here forever, but they wanted to leave an indelible mark, and they did. How you do that is under your own design, but do something that will create a legacy for you forever. If you want to be immortal, that's the way to do it. Hustle it. Everybody has a hustle. Everyone does. Anything you do in America or anywhere in the world is a hustle as long as you're dedicated and ambitious, right? I think so.
I think
And
so
it just,
too.
yeah, it's what, come on now. They all did it. I mean, Julius Caesar, freaking Mark Anthony, all had a hustle. Their hustle was
John
being
Cena,
great.
hustle, loyalty,
John Cena.
respect.
John Cena. John Cena. Mark Alexander the Great. They all had a hustle. Anywho, with that being said, everywhere you go, guys, the hustle is great and it's getting more outstanding. I mean, you got to do more to get just halfway through what everybody else can just walk upon, right? So everywhere you look, there are messages glorifying the grind. But what does that really mean for our day-to-day lives? Is this culture leading us to success, or is it setting us up for a burnout? Gigi, what do you think about that? I mean, you're a hustler. Gigi's like, I'm a hustler, baby. Are you burned out? Do you feel like you got enough gas in the tank to get to that next road? What's going on?
I mean, the term burnout, it's again to me, it's I hate saying it like this because I don't want to be like screw you, you're weak minded, but like it's kind of comes
Right.
off as weak minded. Like, yeah, there's times where I go and I'm like tired, I'm exhausted,
Yeah.
but I just have to remind myself like why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like set goals. Like why do you want to like define what will make you happy
Yeah.
and then go for it. And
Yeah.
if you are selling yourself short every day and you're not happy, it's because you aren't working towards that definition that you defined. So that's the thing. You need that direction. You need to set the structure and the values like of what you
Mhm.
actually value
Right.
and work towards it. Like I'm not saying you have to go out and make $10 billion and
Stop
live
making all that
like
goddamn
emotion.
noise. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
I'm about to cut you off.
And
Oh my God.
um yeah, so you don't have to like live in a mansion and all that. Like you can raise a family, take care of things, and live comfortably, and like
Yeah.
just have like a 9 to 5 job where get paid decent income, and
Yeah.
then have something going on in the background with your stocks and like making just like wise
Right.
decisions. Like
And
compound your success. A small victory
right.
every day leads up to a huge victory overall.
And that's the beautiful thing about it, because Einstein, and we're doing a lot of quotes today, guys. Einstein said
Spitting
the
them
most right?
bars.
The most powerful thing in the universe is compound interest. So, and he said this 70, 80 years ago. So, what does that mean? That means set yourself up for success early by taking the money you would spend on ice cream, diddly daddling, taking your girl out, put that aside in a way to grow compound interest. So, CDs, stock market stuff, RI or IRAs, anything like that that gives you some extra money where the interest you can live off of and the principal makes more money for your interest. That's important. And what people forget to realize is that we're gonna have to hustle. You're gonna have to hustle to the day you die. Now, and I know a lot of people don't know this, but everybody's waiting on their social security checks, right? And they're like, oh, I'm gonna retire at blah blah age, at blah blah this. Well, let me set you up for a little reality check. When I was younger, the retirement age was, I believe, 62. So at 62 years, you can retire, but here's the drab on that is so many people are living way past 62, more so than ever. Because remember, before innovation, people only lived to about 30, 35, 50 years old tops, and that was old, old. But now the people are living to 100 and 110. It's been raised to 67, and it's due to be raised again into the 70s. So with that being said, you're gonna have to figure out how to live without a perpetual income on just Social Security, and we don't even know if Social Security is gonna be solvent in that many years. What do you think about that, Gigi? Is Social Security gonna be solvent? Is it gonna be the new hustle? Getting your Social Security check on my third? I don't think so.
No, I don't even like consider that even an option.
Right. Right, right.
401ks are fine. If your job offers you that, definitely take that as an option. Investing
Yeah.
wisely in the stock market will carry you a very long way. Precious metals, investing in precious metals, like
Yes. Gold.
look at creative ways of getting your money out of your savings account, but still having it like in something valuable because that's
Yeah.
going to protect your money against inflation. Because as things inflate, your money stays basically the same, which means you're losing money. You're using the value
Or
of
it
your
needs to value.
savings.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
So like
not
just
worth
making
it yet.
smarter decisions, set yourself up for
Yeah.
success.
And that's a
You owe
very
it to
important
yourself.
thing. Yeah, you owe it to yourself to set yourself up for greatness, right? So the American dream traditionally promised prosperity through hard work. Oh, ingenuity, hard work. Just work those 12 hours, get that freaking extra payroll. You know the old mantras. In the early 20th century, around 62% of Americans believed hard work could lead to success. Fast forward to today, and only about 39% of millennials feel that they can achieve the dream through hard work alone. It's a stark shift. It's more than a 0.5% drop. A half of what people said earlier is now the new reality where it's like, no, you gotta be smart. Hard work will only take you so far.
Oh, you can
But
work your
being
ass off
smart,
for the wrong people and get
yeah,
nowhere.
oh bro, trust
You work
you
half
and
as
I
hard for the right
both.
people and you get 3 times as far.
You Whoa. It's so important that you say that. If you're gonna do the 9 to 5 thing, make sure you're working for the right people who will take care of you and get everything you do in writing. I'm telling you, I've been burned so many times in that aspect. That's why I'm doing a podcast because I'm like, I'm over that shit. And I don't want the listeners to fall into that trap because people are the business owners out there today are they're egregious, they're nasty. They will take advantage of every loophole that they can. And of course, they're business owners. They're looking out for the primary person in that business, and that's themselves. They're going to take advantage wherever they can and leave you holding the bag, and the bag will most definitely be empty. So we have this relentless pursuit of success, guys. How does it manifest in our lives? Are we truly more productive or just busier? What do you think, Gigi?
I think we need to get more organized. I think we're both busier and yeah, I think what we need to do is organize our efforts, be smart about what
Okay,
we're doing.
perfect.
Because, yeah, you guys got a plan. Like, how do you expect to make $1 million? How do you expect to make $100,000 a year if you don't
Yeah.
sit down in a room with some people who are like you value their intelligence and y'all sit there and just
Yes.
talk about how y'all can make $100,000 a year?
Bro, and Gigi makes such
Give it
a
a few hours.
the greatest point in this podcast today. It just got said. So if you were hanging around people who were no good, useless people, who you've known all your life and all they can amount to, and I'm not knocking McDonald's. I mean, fucking Donald Trump works there, clearly. But if you're working with these people and all they can tell you about how to change the fry burner or how to flip burgers, you're gonna be flipping burgers and changing the fry oil. You gotta find a set of people you get along with that can raise you higher. It's always about your environment. Who you let in, you manifest that. And if you're manifesting a whole bunch of people who aren't about nothing and don't do anything, you're gonna be on the menu instead of at the table. And what I would tell you, and I think Gigi could validate this comment, is you are who you keep. You are who you keep. So if you keep a whole bunch of ragamuffins and thuggians or overexerted preppy boys who have their mothers and their daddies' credit cards, you're never going to get ahead because they're already built into the strategy. You got to think outside the bubble. And if you don't think outside the bubble and activate what you know to be a survival instinct, and that's taking care of yourself and your family, you're going to be regretting it for the rest of your life. And I guarantee you, listening to other people who are successful, who are not trying to get money out of you, who are just trying to help you get there, is the absolute best way to do it. What do you agree? Do you agree with that, Gigi? Or do you have something else that counters it?
No, not the counters it. Absolutely not.
Mhm.
Like you are the sum of the people you hang out with. You're like, show me your
Exactly.
closest friends, and I'll show you your future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have to rise to the occasion. You can't lower yourself to other standards. You don't want to ever lower your standards. You always want to raise your standards.
Always.
You know,
You have
like
to.
it's very humbling when you're not the smartest person in the room because the only thing you can become is smarter.
And that's what I
So,
would tell you. And Gigi brings that up, and that's amazing. Never be the smartest person in the room, ever. Always be in a room with people you are like not intimidated by,
and that's why I'm
but
dumb as
bring
hell.
yeah, but bring you to like, wow, I'd never thought of it like that. Remember, guys, there's nobody who has the absolute 100% control of intelligence. It takes a whole room to make one decision. If you're doing it right, that's what it should take. If you're making decisions off of people who are kissing your ass and saying you how great you are and not going against you and saying, no, that's dumb, you're in the wrong room. And I think a lot of people find themselves in the wrong room and they don't know how to leave the room. Leave the room. So I will tell you that family will be the person or people that will tell you all kinds of sorts of stuff. But always evaluate family and say, hey, why would I be taking information from you if you've never gotten there? Don't be afraid to ask that question because people rely a lot on their family to make financial decisions. I know this. Don't do it because if they can make those decisions for themselves, they'd already be there.
Don't
Look
take
at the
advice from people who don't have the things you want.
I mean, that is so
Right there.
profound. It's so big
Bars.
part, bro. Bars. Look, if you wanna be successful, if you wanna do more, surround yourself with people with ambition, dedication. Sometimes they don't have to be the most smartest people because not everybody's gonna be that way. But people who have ambition and dedication will get it done, and they'll get it done faster because they know the shortcuts and outroads to get it done faster. They just need the idea. Sometimes you have the idea and they have the mobility or the muscle to get it together. Those are the people you wanna align yourselves with. If you align yourself with people who just want to think about dreams and all the stuff they could accomplish if their dad was, not in prison or their mom wasn't a cocktail waitress, no, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. That's death on a stick. But what we want to get back to is the Harvard Business Review indicates that employees are productive for only about 3 hours a day on average. Despite working longer hours, this disconnect shows the futility of hustle without clear objectives. So, social media plays a role, a huge role in perpetuating this culture. Do you think platforms like Instagram and TikTok are encouraging a toxic environment by telling people to pretty much don't do your best, just quiet quit? What do you think about that, dude?
Yeah, no, I don't think that's a good, again, philosophy to have. You should take it from people who you value your intelligence. Don't get your advice from TikTok unless you're following snippets from podcasts of people who actually have conversations. But I want you to go and listen to those full conversations because you can only walk
Mhm.
away from it better. Like, I get it,
Yeah,
like,
and
our
what
attention spans are fleeting, especially because like, TikTok, like, everything on social media is now just, like, a quick video, like, you have
yeah,
15 seconds video, 15-second video, 15-second
it's not
video.
live, just so you guys know.
Yeah. No, it's
And
not
we
life at
and look,
all.
we're not beating up on Instagram and of course not TikTok. We're huge on those platforms. Of course you can reach us at let me let me take you higher on TikTok and let me take you higher, of course, on Instagram. But we would tell you don't use those things to foray a meaningful working relationship with your peers or to advance you in any ambition or dedication you desire. It's not going to be found there. It's going to be found in your soul, within you. The world and light of the universe is within you. If you decide to see it, if you don't see it, and look, guys, it's not going to be for everybody. Hustle culture is there for a reason to get that hustle on. And if you find somebody who knows how to hustle really well, keep them as a friend, keep them sometimes as a part time advisor of your own ambition because they're already showing you they can get out there and get it done. It's within them to do it, right? So if the hustle is not the answer, what does a healthier definition of success look like in today's world, Gigi?
Uh, Honestly, like, from what I hear,
Yeah.
that goal of making $100,000 a year, whether it's through mixed income or whatever,
Yeah.
being able to pay your bills and just, like, take care of your family is a huge step.
That's
Now,
good.
getting to that foundation, that goal, I feel
Yeah.
like that should be a goal for everybody. And then
Yeah.
beyond
And why
that
isn't it?
is
I
the
mean,
sky's the limit. If you want 12 different ways of making money, 12 passive incomes, go
yeah,
for it. Like,
you
but if
can do it if you try.
yeah, if it requires you to work, 2 jobs and invest, money and, have some kind of other passive income to make that 100 $120,000 a year, so you can pay your bills, take care of your
Mhm.
kids appropriately, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like as a parent, and especially when like mixed in combined households, it's like you kind of have to
Yeah.
have more, especially with kids. But like, yeah, like
Well,
you
and
got to take care of your family. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter about personal goals. So
it doesn't. And look, you guys, you have to have a real big set huge goal. Always do mini goals to get to the huge goal. The huge goal is being you don't have to be successful. You just have to feel good about what you've done in your life, right? Success should never include it- well, it should include not just career achievements, but also personal fulfillment and mental health. There's been a Gallup poll that studied this, and they found that employees prioritizing work life balance report 21% higher productivity than those who don't. It's about working smarter, not just harder. And that's been a cue for many, 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 many decades. So figure out what you're working for. I think a lot of people don't do vision boards or they don't plan it out. They don't have set goals. And they get to a point where they're like, "I don't know how to rate where I'm at." But what I will tell you, and finally, let's tackle the big question. Is the American dream dead or does it need a reboot? I believe the American dream is alive and well, and it will always be as long as America stands democratic and united. It's ready to rock and roll. Sometimes people just need to reboot themselves. What do you say, Gigi, to that?
that's just it. It just comes down from like poor conditioning, from like bad leadership, bad
Yeah.
examples, bad peer groups, where like you have like this tainted idea of like it's kind of like I hate saying it like this because it's so cut and dry, but like a loser mentality. They say a loser mentality is somebody who looks at something and says, "Well, most people fail, so will I." Versus a winner's mentality, where it's like one person can do it, so can I.
Yes. If one person's alive and they're doing it, why can't I do it? And if you don't
Exactly.
have that, I mean, and look, guys, not everybody's going to be a leader. It's designed that only a few will be leading and the majority will be following. And that's just how our capitalism and democracy works. We don't have a whole bunch of thousands and thousands of people in Congress, or we don't have 500 presidents. There's only going to be a few people who get to those marks on purpose because they are the best of the best of the best. And we've shuffled them through, shook them through this strainer, and that's what came out. And that's how it's designed. Because not everybody's going to get there. And a lot of people don't want to get there. A lot of people are okay with paycheck to paycheck, doing what they got to do to survive, and that's what they're okay with, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with you. Everybody can't be a leader. Most people are following leaders, and that's what we need. You can't have everybody be a leader. There's too many Indians in the tribe, too many chefs in the kitchen. So, with that being said, guys, figure out who you are and strive for that. And then always surround yourself with people who will invite you to be more ambitious, more dedicated, more fierce. Push yourself. That's important. So, as we wrap up, I encourage our listeners to reflect on their own definitions of success. Are you caught up in the hustle? Or are you carving out a path that values balance and fulfillment? So, thank you for joining me and Mr. Gigi Luigi. I've been the villain or Mr. Villain. And this has been the Let Me Take You Higher podcast. We appreciate everything that you do for us, guys. We appreciate your listening, your liking, your sharing, your subscribing to our podcast on all the medias where you can find your podcast. And we want to let you know that we have more great content coming up. You can see us and actually give us emails at our email, let me take you higher podcast at gmail.com. We're on all social media platforms under that same name. And if you have any questions, let us know. We love doing this for you. We love doing this for ourselves. Very therapeutic. Have a great night, guys, and we'll see you soon. And that's a wrap on this episode of Let Me Take You Higher, the podcast. Big thanks to our special guests and a huge shout out to our incredible sponsors. You guys are literally the wind beneath our podcast wings. Remember, this show was dreamed up and brought to life by yours truly, Mr. Villain, and it's all made possible by BC Entertainment LLC, a proud subsidiary of Big Cheddar Music LLC. All rights are reserved by BC Entertainment. So don't even think about touching that dial without permission. Until next time, keep your minds elevated and your vibes higher. This is Mr. Villain signing off. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and stay forever gifted and lifted.
When life storms rage and skies grow dim, we gather the shards, piece by piece within. Through tears and trials, we find our might. Let me take you higher toward the light. Let me take you higher beyond the pain. Where broken dreams mend and hope remains. We'll rise from ashes like a phoenix bold. In the symphony of resilience, our stories unfold. When life storms rage and skies grow dim, we gather the shards, piece by piece within. Through tears and trials, we find our might. Let me take you higher toward the light. Let me take you higher beyond the pain. Where broken dreams mend and hope remains. We'll rise from ashes like a phoenix bold. In the symphony of resilience, our stories unfold.